There we go. Okay, well, welcome to Coaches Connect this week. It is lovely of all of you to join me today. And this is your space. This is your access to a master coach on a weekly basis. You can come here with your questions, hesitations, coaching scenarios. And since I do have folks on video, first I asked them to get on video, and now I'm going to pick on them. Give us a little check-in. Charlie, hop on. Tell us what you're working on. Where are you at in your PN journey, so to speak?
So I got my PN cert last year. Thank you. And then went traveling uh, after my wife recovered from cancer. So I didn't implement it at all. And then I've since come back and I'm looking to kind of make a go of it now, essentially. So I'm t starting totally from scratch and announced that I had my cert last week. So far it's been guinea pigging with my sister,
Cool.
um, which started off without pro coach and is sort of transitioning to see what pro coach is like. Um, and yeah, now I've got maybe two or three potential leads that
Awesome.
are interested in the sort of precision approach. And it's just kind of weighing up how to proceed with that, really.
Yeah, I love that. How's your wife feeling?
Yeah, great. Full remission.
I'm so glad to hear it.
Strongest person I know. So,
That is amazing. There is something you said that I kind of felt like I was like, oh, I'm gonna push against that. Some people call me argumentative, but I think that's a bad way of putting that. When you said when that you finished the cert last year and you didn't implement it at all, I've
mm,
met a person that learned something without implementing it in some way. Does that make sense, right? Like everything we learn, we
mm,
tend to absorb and use in some fashion. And it might not be like, okay, well, I thought I'm going to build a nutrition coaching business then,
yeah,
and I didn't, which is fine. That totally makes sense. You had bigger fish to fry at the time.
mm,
But I imagine that there were some ways in which the information you learned and you were exposed to came into play, even in some
absolutely.
always, right? Like
Yeah.
would you say that was indeed the case?
Yeah, I think I was kind of referring to sort of actionable building a business, as you say. At that time, I was probably struggling really myself with almost that sort of orthorexia, all or nothing behavior, because I've been through my own transformation and going away. Uh, oh, I've disappeared. Going away for 8 months without any structure was quite scary for me. So uh, I did definitely implement some of the learnings there because obviously I wasn't counting calories or anything like that, and I think that's contributing largely to why I feel so strongly about helping people with that now because it's something that I've overcome as well as the personal experiences that I've had.
Yeah, traveling is hard.
Mm.
Yeah, traveling
Mm.
can be hard in terms of just maintaining all the things, right? Like we struggle to maintain all the things when we're living in our home base, never mind
Mm.
switching locations. So you've mentioned that you are working with your sister now as a test client, which is awesome. You've also have two or three leads now and kind of trying to figure out how to proceed. Can you tell us
Mm.
more about how you got the two to three leads? Like, how did those two to three leads come to be?
I put a post on Facebook,
Mhm.
uh,
What'd you say?
pretty much the spiel that I've just given you, all my backstory. I gushed. I'm an oversharer. I think it's something I'll have to work on, but um, I know that it's the best way of bringing people in that it will resonate with me that I can think of is just being genuine and authentic. And I knew that the way to start that for myself was to share my why or whys. Maybe how I didn't really give that much backstory to myself, but Certainly how I ended up having the epiphany that I wanted to pursue the nutrition coaching, and the sort of the key moments in recent history that led to that. And then just saying, I'm starting out, I'm looking to build my systems and service, and we're looking for some trial clients who's game.
And what happened? Did people comment or messaged you privately and said, "Hey, I saw the post, tell me more"? Like, how did that look? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, I'd say there was a lot of sort of support on the face. So lots of likes, lots of, oh, congratulations, well done, and this is exciting. And I wasn't surprised that I hadn't heard a lot, but for the volume of sort of notifications and things I was getting, I was maybe surprised at how few people were sort of showing interest. But they've kind of trickled in. So I had a couple of people message, sort of privately on Facebook, a couple of family members or sort of friends of family inquiring with, my wife or sister, or mum, and that's pretty much where we're at.
That's pretty cool. And I think the fact that you shared, right? Like somebody asked me the other day, they said, "I'm going through my level one certification right now. Um, Once I finish, would you recommend that I share that I finished on social media?" And I said, "Well, hell yeah, first of all. But second of all, don't wait until then.
Mm,
Share now, right? Like if I had a coach in front of me that was literally starting out their level one certification and I could, mold them and coach them through the whole process, I would literally suggest, like, I would really encourage to use the entire level one nutrition certification as an opportunity to start building kind of like that
mm,
base where it's like, okay, you know what we're going to do? You're going to share something on social media daily about what you're learning in this certification. And it's going to take you 2, 3, 4, 5 months, however long. Guess what happens? The time's going to pass anyway. You learning as you go along. The benefit of sharing something that you learn with others as you learn is invaluable in terms of
mm,
just information absorption, just in terms of how our brains work. And at the same time, you just hard coded, social media presence for yourself over the course of 2, 3, 4, 5 months. And at the
mm,
same time, and this is what a lot of people find sticky, it's like, oh, like selling is hard. It's like, well, guess what? You actually now have a way to share things with people for a few months with zero pressure, right?
mm,
Because you're not selling anything, you're just going through this thing and you are learning and you're sharing kind of what you're learning with it. Uh, and then I think it makes it much easier of a setup when like just imagine being in a receiving end of this. If somebody started, like one of your friends started doing
mm,
that, um, at the end of 3 or 4 months, there is this big hoopla because you finished the certification that you've been
mm.
talking about for months. And now you're looking for test clients. Do you hear how that's actually a very different journey than to, like come out of the woodwork, as I think the
Yeah.
coach was asking me was planning to do, is like, guess what, you guys, I finished this thing. Now I want test clients. And everyone's like, whoa, what's happening? Right? Like it's this like first time that I'm hearing about it.
Yeah. Yeah. People haven't been invested in your journey it's a shock almost.
Well, and
Um,
a lot of it
yeah.
is also, because when we're talking about like social media as a medium of expression, like what Charlie has alluded to, just in terms of how personal that post was, I think is a big piece too. Because also with health and nutrition, we are coaching people on something so incredibly intimate. It is such an intimate thing, like what we eat and how we treat our bodies. I did a post on that a couple of months ago. I said, who knows you have a UTI? All the women know what a UTI is, right? Like 3 people in my life knew when I got a UTI: my spouse, my best friend, and my coach, because my strength coach programs my workouts. It was very uncomfortable just moving around for a couple of days. That actually really that was relevant information
Mm,
for him to know, right? But notice how how intimate that kind of knowledge is and how close we're going to be, like in people's business, which is why kind of starting first, right? It's like you first. You first.
Hmm.
You tell us like who you are, what you do, what your struggles are, how are you coming into this, what's your story? You first, before you kind of ask us, your friends, your prospective clients, to then pop in and do that kind of sharing with you, right?
For
Thank you
sure.
so much, Charlie. I really appreciate you kicking
No
us off.
worries. Thank you.
And I saw Kimberly popped on video. Thank you. I was just saying in the video earlier in the call, it's nice to have folks. Let me just mute here. Nice to see people's faces. Nikki, what about you? Kick us off. Well, kick us off. We're well into this. Give us a little check-in. Where are you at? What's your PN journey so far?
Unmute. With my PN journey. So I've been a coach for about 20 years. And about 8 years ago now, I did PN1 certification. And I kept it up for 2 years and then I let it fall by the side, which I regret now. But anyway, history. So in the meantime, I've been doing other types of coaching, and it's just recently come to my attention that I really want to dial in more to people's health and well-being and coping with stress. I work with professional women, mostly in the medical field, and that's just gotten crazy since COVID, and they really need a lot of support and resources. So this was the way, I mean, precision nutrition was the way that I thought this is the best way that I can develop the skills to help them.
And Nikki, can you tell us a little bit more? You said you've been a coach for 20 years. What kind of coaching?
Well, I started out doing relationship coaching, which I do not recommend to anybody ever. It was terrible. It was
Oh,
hard.
you're gonna have to tell us more now, like because
Well, put it this way, I always felt like I was invested more in the process, which is a terrible position to be in, than at least one of the couple. So there was always somebody who had like one foot out the door, and it was exhausting and heartbreaking. And so I stopped doing that, and then I shifted over to professional woman. That's what I've been doing since then, pretty much.
and that kind of like, so I'm hearing it's kind of more like executive leadership coaching, would you say? Like, so who are the professional women in medical field that come to you that you would coach? You would coach them primarily in health, in work transition, midlife adjustment, what?
Yes.
Got
So I tend to have, I have a slightly different practice. I never jumped onto the group coaching bandwagon. I like the one-to-one.
Yeah.
So I have a very small boutique style of coaching, very high touch, very supportive. And so we cover whatever that coach needs. Sometimes my calls are as long as like 3 hour blocks of time. So
Mm,
it's very
wow.
intensive, very responsive to what's going on for them. Um, so yeah, it's kind of a little bit of everything.
Yeah, very cool. And I mean, I can relate. I mean, minus the 3 hour calls, which I don't do, but one-on-one is very much my bread and butter. And I kind of call it like the artisanal coaching because it's,
Yes.
small scale, high touch, right? Like, and I am kind of, I have no interest in making it anything than what it is because I am obsessed with it, right? So I get that very much
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you are now because now you're looking, so you've been coaching for a while, but then kind of PN found you or you found PN and you have let your level one lapse. The one thing I will say with level one certification, there isn't like you have to start over once you let it lapse. You
Okay.
at any point can just do your retest, I believe.
Okay.
But hit us up on our client care or just message me directly if you'd like, and we can, like, if that was something that you wanted to just
Yeah, it is.
explore what the next steps would be, we could figure that out.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Cool.
Uh,
Yeah.
because I actually want to go on to do the two as well.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So, and to answer the question I think you were about to ask, it was kind of where am I headed with this? I'm
Mm.
hoping that I don't know quite how to help this segment of the market, but I'm hoping to collaborate with other people who do like doing group coaching or, coursework or whatever, because again, I love to do the one-on-one and I'm happy to do that. But there's a whole section of our system in healthcare that are desperate. They're leaving healthcare by the day, and
Mhm.
it's scary. And I don't think we really understand it until, in 10 years' time, when we don't have enough women ER doctors, for example.
So
And
what's
that's
the pull there, Nikki, for you? Because you say, yeah, I prefer one-on-one. This is something I'm really good at. I've been doing it forever. What's the pull towards group coaching? Like, I guess I'm asking, like, do you have to be the person that,
No, I don't have to. No. And I'm hoping I'm not. I'm
yeah.
hoping I find somebody else who I can sort of continue with what I'm doing, but at least I'm working on the advocacy piece at the moment and just trying to get everybody aware so that people can see, oh, wait, there is actually not just a market, but there's actually people who need this information.
Well, I think what you're describing, because there are a couple of ways of doing that. Like you could have a group coaching program that it represents 10 or 20% of your entire coaching practice. So like you can still keep your one-on-one as being your main thing. And maybe this group coaching thing only runs once a year or twice a year, something like that. You also could kind of partner with someone who does the group coaching thing and you're doing the one-on-one thing in like a partnership. We have a coaching practice together umbrella kind of thing. Or you simply could find somebody that you really like who becomes your refer out for group coaching thing. Does that make
Yeah.
sense, right? Like, because this is where, like, how many different ways can we come up with in solving that tension? So, like, if I'm a running coach and I keep running into people that want to get better at swimming, like I don't need to do that. I just need to know somebody that's really good who's a swimming coach or a tri coach, and I can kind of refer them to that person. And we feed each other people where that person might just say, well, you want one-on-one, you should talk to Nikki because that's her jam.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love those ideas.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Kimberly, what about you? Give us a little check-in. Where are you at with PN, with certifications, with life in general? We can take that pretty wide.
Yeah. So I've always had a passion for food and nutrition, and even in my career, I work in the hospital supporting like food and nutrition departments, more on the IT side. So I finally just decided to do PN. I finished my PN level one, I think like a month ago, and I'm finishing up the CBK course, and I'm considering level two. So honestly, I feel like I'm just a student right now. I haven't really picked up any clients. I briefly shared with people close to me. I have this thing, and this is something I need to get over, is just this perfection, overthinking. Like I need to be ready when really I just need to start.
Mm,
So honestly, I am kind of struggling. I have a little bit of anxiety with it, also in the mix of that. And thank you, Charlie, for being vulnerable with your wife. And I'm glad she's doing well. My father had like sepsis, and so I've been really advocating and helping with his care the last 3 months, going to hospitals every day, talking to the care team. So my allostatic load of stress is extremely high on top of work, on top of managing PN. So really, I'm just being a learner. um, haven't started Instagram. I want to do the social media thing. I have a lot of ideas there. But I haven't had social media in 10 years.
mm.
So I've been really detoxed from that. So it's a lot of new on top of a lot of stress. So I'm just anxious. That's where I'm at.
Thank you. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for sharing that. There's a lot there.
Mhm.
I like your casual use of allostatic load in conversation. You just like
Yeah.
brought my heart rate up a little bit. I said, well, I see
Mhm.
you. Thank you for that. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot there, and I mean, I heard you say something that I want to speak to just briefly. It's the I have this anxiety, I have this fear, I have this insecurity, right? Like we can call it many different things. I don't know if you noticed every single person that was on camera was nodding as you were speaking about that. So that is to say, firstly, my gosh, right? Like you're not alone. Like that is such a common fear, such a common uncertainty, such a common source of anxiety. what made my ears perk up a little bit is I just need to get over it, right? Like I have this thing, it's a source of fear and anxiety for me, and I just need to get over it. And I think we kind of, I think, undermine how scary that actually is. And it's
Mm.
also such an abstract way of thinking about it because like that's not really a thing. Like we don't just get over anything. There's not a single thing though that causes us stress and anxiety and fear that we just get over. So I'm curious, like, can we poke at this one a little bit? Like when you say, I just need to get over it, what do you think that means? Like if you woke up tomorrow and you're like, today's the day, I'm just gonna get over it, like what would you do? How would you go about it?
I think it's a lot of courage. Courage is like what, stepping out in amidst of fear. So just kind of doing it. But I don't know. I think I'm overthinking a lot, and my thoughts are a little bit holding me back from taking the first step. I just feel like I have a long to-do list. Like I need to get the insurance, like the business portion of it, get the
Mhm.
insurance, get the Instagram going. It's just that long list is giving me, I don't know, like this analysis paralysis where I'm not moving at all. And I just have to start small. And I know all those things. I'm like all about habits. So,
Yeah.
but just starting small. But I just think because my plate is so full on top of other people's plates being full, and I kind of have to be that caretaker for family and
Mhm.
like be that voice and help. I'm just not putting action there, but I'm putting action in the sense of learning and attending these community things. Like that makes me feel like, okay, I'm like doing something and
I'm,
attending the events
I'm
and
in it.
rewatching. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm in it. Right now, you said I'm a learner. I'm in learning mode. And one of the questions that folks ask sometimes, like when it's like, okay, I'm doing level one nutrition, or I just finished level one nutrition, like what's next? What do I do next? Do I do CBK? Do I do level two? Do I run a challenge? Do I start advertising? Do I start posting on social media? Like, what is next? And I often actually ask, like, what is, like, if we were to come up with this arbitrary fork in I am working on building a nutrition coaching practice at one point. Are you in the learning mode or are you in the building mode? Right? Because if you are in the learning mode, then we can talk about what's next in terms of like, well, maybe a certificate, maybe level two, maybe CBK, maybe like, right? We're going to learn more. But if you're in a building mode, then I would actually say, no, no, let's put a pause. Don't put more information in there now. And I would argue passionately and strongly that anyone with level one nutrition certification and nothing else has sufficient information to help a whole lot of people, right? And it really comes down to kind of what the focus is. So Kimberly, for you, the focus is very much learning. And I think there is a lot of awareness, like self-awareness on your end in terms of your capacity. And if I may make a suggestion,
please. Yeah.
um, because you are very aware of your capacity, I would suggest you very intentionally do one of two things. Either really document how much capacity you have and then decide what to do with it in terms of building a coaching practice, like in terms of actually doing the things above and beyond the learning, right? Like whether that's social media or insurance or whatever it is, right? Like, so if the next step was, I really need to get my insurance in order, and that feels like a big task, and I have looked at my days, and all I have capacity wise is 15 minutes a day. Well, if you put 15 minutes a day for a week towards getting your insurance, I think you could get it done, right? But it's that like tiny bites, right? Like of actually like how much capacity is there? And then you can start plugging away. That's kind of the one option. Or the other option is to just kind of call a spade and say, I have so much on my plate right now. I'm in learning mode, and that is all I have capacity for. But to call it out like that also implies a very intentional effort on your part to let go of the shoulds for now. Oh, but I also should be doing this and I should be doing this. It's like, no, you shouldn't actually, because you don't have capacity for any of those things. You with me? So it's
Mhm.
what you end up doing might not even look very different on the surface, but it's kind of the intention around it, like being able to like look around. I just talked somebody out of level 2 the other day. Don't tell anybody. But we had this kind of similar conversation. They were saying like, do you think I would benefit from level 2? I said, absolutely. Do you think I would enjoy it? 100%. Would it make me a better coach? Million percent. And I asked, do you have any reservations? She said, I don't think it's the right time. I said, then it's not the right time. Right?
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Dana, I think I came up with a rule today that whoever's on video, I'm going to pick on them. So there. Where are you at today?
That's funny that you just said that because I am my plan is to sign up for level 2 and then I'm like, oh no, is it not what because I'm also in learning mode, but I'm also in building mode. Like I feel like I like Kimberly, I finished level 1, I'm doing CBK, and I am building, I want to be a better coach, the best coach that I can be. Like a lot of it is around confidence, which, I have this idea that level 2 will give me just more confidence. I'll be a better coach. And I also posted on Facebook. Charlie, I didn't hear the beginning of your like share, but I posted on Facebook and got some saying like congratulations, that kind of thing, like so exciting, but nobody reached out about working with me. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of like wanting to build at the same time as I'm learning. And, I do think I have the capacity for that, but yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. Like my
Dana,
plan.
I think that's the capacity is a big piece because that's what I was going to call out, right? Like, because it's can we both learn and build at the same time? 100%.
Right,
Right? But it is about capacity.
right.
Because if the capacity is limited, well, we kind of have to, cut down. I had an exchange yesterday. Daniel will appreciate that exchange because we're talking about running. I have a running partner. We're training for an ultra race right now, and she's very, very time crunched, like incredibly time crunched, very demanding schedule. And we're looking at increasing mileage. And she said, I don't think I have time to do strength right now. Like if I'm going to focus on running, I have to drop my strength workouts. And I actually sent her like a citation and like a table that shows. She's like, what am I looking at? Like, what does this say? Does this say I don't need strength? Does this say that strength it's not important? I said, not exactly, but what we see in research on like endurance sports is that, especially ultra running, is that strength has some benefit for ultra running, but not enough for folks that are time crunched where you would actually need to trade off mileage or recovery. So for you, guess what? You're not doing strength because capacity, right? Ideally, if you had capacity, that would be great. Strength would be helpful as long as you also have time for mileage and recovery, right? You hear the parallel to your situation versus Kimberly's here is that, yeah, you might be able to both build and learn. I always say there's a little bit like a yellow warning light that goes up for me when I talk to folks that are in learning mode for years, right? This is where I do prefer to think of learning and building as a bit of a, like, think of intelligently designed strength programming where we will have blocks and we will have phases, right? And I think, 6 to 12 months is a great block for learning versus building. So if you've spent the last 6 to 12 months very actively learning, taking certifications and reading books and like doing a deep dive, that's amazing. But if you keep doing that, it's not really a capacity issue anymore, no matter how little capacity you have, because even you have a tiny bit of capacity to learn, you can stop learning And you can now use that capacity towards building. Right? And I would argue that's probably going to be the most kind of constructive way for most of us to go about it. And I routinely put my clients into a course certification learning moratorium so they can focus on building for a period of time. And we do a wish list, like we do a bucket list of certifications and courses because there's always something else, right? It's like, okay, I've done my level 1 nutrition. Next big thing for me, I want to do level 2. You absolutely should. If you have the means to do so, 100%, zero reservation. But timing wise, okay, so the next 6 months, are you going to focus on building? And what does that look like? And then level 2 is your like next big learning block.
Right. I feel like right now I have the time. I'm not currently working, and so I've been looking at it like as this year, it'll be a year in total, like since I started level 1 and level 2. And in my head too, I want to do the NBW, whatever those letters are. Like I want to be certified because I just want well, I want that learning, and I also feel like I want to just be open to possibly working for other people. Like I just want basically kind of more opportunity. And like I said, I have the time now. So by the end of level 2, it will be a year of learning, and I'm also getting certified for personal training. So it's like it is like a deep dive this year, but I feel like I sort of have the time. I mean, I do need to get a job, but
Question. So with level 1 nutrition, you finished that about a year ago, you said?
no, a month ago. I
A
just
month
finished this
ago.
last
Yes, yes,
cohort.
right. Just a month ago. So perfect. This is so recent. So tell me about your perception and your feeling of confidence when it comes to nutrition coaching. Do you feel like your confidence in coaching people in nutrition has increased as soon as you clicked submit and got the certification thing?
No,
Congratulations. You've graduated. You did
no,
it did
it did not.
it did not.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because I during level 1, I did have a client,
Mhm.
which I think I've shared about here before. It was it was a 5-week one, and I just realized very quickly I had zero clue as to what I was doing. I mean, which makes sense. But yeah, I really didn't feel like I was helping her at all. I felt like I was more like a cheerleader.
Mhm.
Um, it is very possible that she was not a good fit. Like I think I have shared here, like she was really, I learned that I think I want to work with people for more than 5 weeks. I also learned that I don't think I want weight loss to be the main goal. I think I'm looking for people that really are interested in longevity, in like health, and like are committed to a lifestyle change and like habit changing. But
How I said that fork, learning versus building, right? And how like we sort of we sort of pick a focus, but yes, we could do both at the same time. Daniel said something really cool in the comments. He said, you will probably learn a lot by building.
right.
And what you just described, did you hear yourself say how much you learned by working with this one person? I learned this, I learned this, I learned this, I learned this. So you learned all these things by working with this one person. And at the same time, oh my gosh, there's the kicker. Okay, you all heard it, I think. Dana also said that she didn't really feel more confident as soon as she got her level 1 nutrition cert. Did you guys all hear that? At the same time, Dana is expressing desire and intent to get more certifications in order to feel more confident. Right. And that's a bit of a catch 22. Right. And the parallel there, the closest parallel I can think of there that you will all recognize because you've seen it and heard it from clients is I want to lose 10 pounds. Why? Because I want to feel more confident. Got it. Have you ever been 10 pounds lighter? Yes, I have. Have you been more confident? No. great system, great plan, right? Let's do it, right? So that's kind of what I want to call out, Dana, right? And I mean, I'm not really saying anything you don't know, right? It's one of those like, yeah, I know all that, right? Like Kimberly was saying earlier, she's like, I know all of this. But I think the question is, what do we do with that knowledge?
Right.
You know that, Kimberly knows that, I know that.
Hmm. Am
So
I
I
number two that you're discouraging from going to level two?
not at
Two,
all. That's how
two in
it's my
24
job.
hours?
No,
No.
no, no. Everybody
Oh,
here should do level 2. I'm going on record. Um,
plus it's
and
being recorded.
and level 2 is amazing, truly, right? Like it will absolutely make you a better coach.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious, are there level 2 grads on the call? I mean, Marta is a level 2 grad. Daniel is no, Marta is not. Marta should do level 2. Marta. Daniel is a level 2 grad. Vicky is a level 2 grad. And I mean, we have, I posted in the community the other day saying, like, you tell them, don't listen to me, right? Like, here you go. So
Mhm.
I don't really think that there is a huge question about whether or not level 2 will be valuable. What I am questioning, though, is will this certification give me sufficient confidence in order to?
Right.
Right? Because the other thing that I want to do for anyone going into level 2 is knowing what they're going into. It's always going to over deliver. It always has, the certification, right? But I think that expectation of like, then I will be able to. It's exactly the same reasoning. Once I lose 10 pounds, once I get breast implants, once I get a boyfriend, once I have this job, once I get a raise, and that has never happened. I think it's that call out. And then we're asking a bigger question and a maybe scarier question is, how do I actually get confidence if it's not this way?
Right. Well, I do think I know that the confidence will come from the work from coaching. The issue now is I don't know how to get clients to coach. Like I don't know if I just sort of expected people on Facebook to come like flooding in, like that I would have, 100 people like, yes, you're what I'm waiting for. Like, let's go, but that's, hasn't been my experience. And so, yeah, I think that that's sort of like, it, I mean, almost like what Kimberly shared, where I'm like a little bit of like, do I charge? Do I not charge? Like, how do I just like offer for free? Like, let's go, but it's a silly thing to keep me from doing it. But I think, certain people are like, well, if they're not invested, people have, less then they have less invested, but there's a part of me that's like, I just want the practice.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think what you're getting at too, and I mean, I think of coaching, like there's coaching as a skill,
Mm-hmm.
and then there is coaching as running a coaching business.
Mm.
And those are two different things, I would argue, right? Like, so one of my favorite level 2 related stories, speaking of level 2, so I used to teach level 2. Some of you know that. One of my students in level 2, in their intake, as I'm reading through, I was like, that's not typical. So this was someone who was not a coach, had no interest in coaching, zero interest in pursuing coaching. He was a vice president at a very large bank in Asia. And he has done a lot of research and certifications and courses and further education. And he decided correctly that level 2 was his best bet in terms of what he wanted to do. He wanted to become a better leader and a better coach for the people that he was working with, coaching as a skill. Right? Coaching is a skill, very similar to parenting, actually, or supervising employees or managing people. Like a lot of those principles are actually pretty much the same. Like we're talking about communicating effectively with fellow humans. And with coaching, I also would argue that coaching is resting pretty heavily on the selling, meaning what? Coaching is not just effective communication, it's also persuasive communication. right? Because when I'm talking to a client, I'm trying to sell you something. What I'm trying to sell you is you buying into the next action step that will take you closer to the goal that you yourself told me you want to achieve. Like, and I just want to get you there. Just like when I'm coaching my children into putting their shoes on or eating one vegetable per month or whatever that is, right? It's that persuasive communication, it's influence. How do we use words? How do we use the principles of communication to be persuasive for the good? And that's actually really the only difference. Like when we complain, like manipulative sales tactics, if you look at the manipulative, sleazy sales tactics, they all are based on the same principles of communication that we know are true. The only difference is, do you use it for the good or for the evil? Please use it for the good. And then you get to be the good guy and not the villain, not the weird Chad in DMs who's asking if you're interested in having 10 leads per week or whatever that is. Yeah, so Charlie's saying coaches connect with Mike Milner had some good stuff on that concern. Yeah, and that's what Mike does really. Like that's kind of his very much his jam. So
Which jam? Which concern would that be?
so how do I get clients and also how do I not appear sleazy? Like I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
Charlie, that's kind of what you were, I think, commenting on there, yes?
It was also the bit about people having skin in the game
Mm.
and whether you charge. Because I actually think I've watched one coaching connect where I think it was yourself, Dana, where you'd taken on a client, and that was one of the ones that drove me to, you were, I think, still doing the PN and I was done. I was sat there and I was like, you've taken more action than me. So it was that in conjunction with the Mike Milner one where it was like, just, yeah, pick something, go with it. But he has some really good like ways of not managing the objection, but almost managing the expectation and making sure that people know where the sort of line is and what his expectation is before you carry on, whether you charge or not. But this was, in my mind, it was with reference to not charging. But
Okay, cool.
yeah,
Thank you.
Well, and I think the really important distinction here also that I wanted to make, Dana and everyone else, is the difference between coaching as a skill. My story of the vice president of the bank in terms of level 2, this was someone who was interested in coaching as a skill. And that's very much what level 2 will do for you. But this person was not interested in coaching as a business. He had a business. He was in finance. That's what he was doing. Now, having a coaching business, running a coaching practice, to me has 3 big pieces. And out of those pieces, only one is the coaching skill. There's the coaching skill. We got you. Between level 1 nutrition and SSR and level 2, got you covered. Truly. But then there's also like kind of the logistics piece, like the very practical logistics piece, the logistics piece of like, but how do I schedule people and how long are my calls? Are they 40 minutes or 45, weekly, bi-weekly, and how much do I charge and do I charge and how frequently and pre-authorized payments and which tool do I use? Like the actual details. And then the third, and that actually tends to be the big one, is the selling, which is a completely separate skill altogether. And I'm all out of analogies except for running, because you know where my head's at now, apparently. But so in ultra running, which is a long distance running, cross terrain, mountains, trail, if all you train for is the actual running, you will not have a good time, because it turns out that there's a whole lot of hiking and walking and scrambling up and down hills in ultra running. And you kind of have to train for that. And you hear that parallel, right? Like with a coaching, like where I want to run a coaching business, and the only thing I do is learn how to coach. But then there's this other big piece too, right? So how do I, Dana, to your question, how do I do that? Well, in my experience, logistics, it's a lot of like fuck around and find out, I think is the official term. Try a bunch of things. You like this, you don't like this, the platform, the payments, right? Like, so when folks ask me like, how long are your coaching calls? I laugh because, well, this very second, they're 45 minutes. But I've also done them 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Like every single length that exists, I have done it. I've also done them weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. And there is no like, oh, well, you should do this then, because it also will depend on what your personal preference is, your life is. Do you like Nikki, really high touch? Maybe you're going to do weekly calls and they're going to be long, or do you prefer more of like a high vision strategy? We're going to do like a big session once a month and that's it. So with logistics, very much trying it out, but with the selling, it's a separate skill that we learn and practice the same we would with coaching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Michael, what about you? Where are you at?
Hi everyone. I just joined PN 2 weeks ago.
Welcome.
So yeah, thank you. I got my personal trainer certification 3 months ago. So I'm definitely in learning mode. I'd like to be in learning mode. I work best when I'm in like a community and learn from each other. Um, I've kind of taken an interesting route with the personal training because I've kind of used it on myself. I've been very inspired and a lot of accountability. Since the holidays, I've lost 15 pounds, but as I've learned, more importantly, not just 15 pounds, I've lost 4.5% body fat percentage. And I think that really clicked for me that there's so much more than weight. It doesn't tell the whole story, and just nutrition and eating more veggies and all of that. So I love the accountability of it all. Truly, I've kind of done a 180 with my nutrition, and confidence in all of it.
Congrats. That sounds huge.
Thank you.
When you say accountability, can you tell us more about what that means for you right now? Like, are you thinking, like, are you accountable to someone? Are you actually working with a coach yourself? And that was a big piece.
Sure. I'm actually a musical theater performer as well. So the accountability really feeds into, 8 shows a week is a very normal thing for me. So stamina, cardio stamina, that level of fitness. I've always been in good shape, but since I've been certified, I feel very locked in, and that is a part of my job as a musical theater performer to just be around 12% body fat or what have you, or even dip a little lower, because that's going to serve me to do 8 shows a week.
Awesome. Well, Michael, I actually would point out you have this very unique these days privilege of having such a direct feedback mechanism in your job in terms of how your body functions, right? Because you can literally feel it in your work where you've always had to be fit enough to do what you do, but then you're actually realizing like the untapped layers of how fit you can be, what a difference that makes.
Absolutely. And also in the level one, they talk about level 1, 2, and 3, and how level 1 is always the foundation, and level 2 is uh, physically fit people that do it for their lives or make money off of it, that kind of thing. And then level 3, you kind of dip into that short term. That pyramid made so much sense to me because I couldn't fully articulate the athletes in NBA or NFL that I watch all the time, and where I fit into that, what's the levels. I was just like, wow, it really clicked.
Well, and Michael, you've mentioned like you are very much in the learning mode and also I'd argue application mode. It's
Mm,
that well, like as I learn it, I also just apply it to myself. And oh my gosh, right? Like this is like blowing my mind the impact that I'm
Right.
seeing. That is so cool. If you ever, and I just want to point it out for like the also benefit of everyone else in the room, if you ever wanted to go the nutrition coaching route, you have such an interesting built-in community of prospective clients already that is very
Mm,
nichey and weird in the best possible way and small and narrow, right? Because I know a lot of coaches. I don't know a single nutrition coach for musical theater performers, right? Like I know somebody who specializes in working with dancers, and maybe if somebody was in musical theater and they were looking for for a nutrition coach, up until today, I would have probably sent them to my dancer nutrition coach. But now that I've
mm,
met you, and I know if you were coaching 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, if you started coaching musical theater folks, well, do you guys see how Michael would be such an obvious, like, oh, well, actually, I know somebody who coaches nutrition for musical theater performers. Like, I think that that's such a cool, like, start with your community, like who is around you and what it is you do. And that's sometimes we do the opposite, where we start doing nutrition coaching and then we kind of declare to the world, I want to work with high level executives. But why, right? Like, so are you a
yeah.
high level exec? Like, right? Like, what is the connection there? You have that kind of built-in connection already.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. Thank you. I what you tapped on earlier was like I'm a very enthusiastic and passionate person with my learning, with everything in life. Sharing that on social media kind of also subconsciously implies that, of course, I want to work with people anyway, instead of just coming out and say, I want to work with you at the end of the certification. Like you said, share the enthusiasm daily, what I'm learning in PN1. And then that's just implied, like, of course, yeah, like, message me and let's work together, as opposed to me just asking it. That actually really makes sense to me.
Well, because then you notice the journey makes sense. Because I think
Yeah,
what social media allows us to do is kind of help other people have a coherent narrative about who we are and what we do, right? Like, so if I came out of the woodwork tomorrow and said, I'm working with accountants, this would literally be out of nowhere. But if I
yeah,
posted tomorrow and I said, you know what, this year I'm actually looking to take on 3 runners that want to improve their nutrition, not a single person in my life would be surprised,
hmm,
because I've been nutrition coaching for many years. I've been running for many years. Well, I just decided to put the two and two together, and I've been talking about it the entire time. I've used 4 running related analogies in this call, right? Like, so you notice how is that like that's the coherent narrative.
right,
It's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. You do that now. Cool, noted, right? And it's also very easy to remember because it fits in people's minds with who Kate is and what Kate does, just like everyone knows you, Michael, in your life in terms of what you do. And they also have that immediate feedback because when bodies change, it is a very public experience, for better or for worse, right? Like when we
hmm,
get bigger or smaller or more muscular or less or faster, right? Like that's very visible. So people
yeah,
also have that very visual reminder of your work, of your progress, of your success in this case.
yeah. That's really lovely. And I also just wanted to point out, as an actor, there's a lot of heart in this room on this Zoom call, and it's just very appreciated. And the vulnerability, it's just very powerful. So really happy to be here.
Thank you. Look how you made everybody smile that was on video. Everyone's whose face we saw, they just like melted. That was amazing. Thank you for calling that out.
Of course, guys.
All right. Well, we have a couple more minutes. Does anyone want to leave us with any words of wisdom? Quick before I use another running analogy.
Well, I'll just piggyback
Guys.
off what Michael was. Oh, go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So I wanted actually to speak to you, Dana and Kimberly, and also kind of self-reflect here, because just yesterday we had this call with one person about starting a business and building a business, and this person finished L1, finished L2, now on to another like national certification and doing also the business certification from PN, that business course, all at once, and not having a single client, right? And we were speaking, and this person was also thinking like, oh, should I run paid advertisement or anything like that? And this is what I used to think, and what I keep some coaches make, I kind of think, a mistake, that they are trying to promote some kind of product, or like you said, like my coaching or whatever, and you don't even know who you want to coach, what kind of person who you like to work with, and so on. And this we only find through the practice. Like you said, like you didn't like working with this person, and you see why. And I think it's really essential in the beginning to just try to work with different people, and not even necessarily for free, because from my experience, there are a lot of people who, or it is as hard to get people to coach for free as it is to get people who will pay you for coaching, even if it's like 50. My first client ever was for 500. So that's also what to challenge you, right? And so you find out who you do the best work with. You will build better confidence by coaching. You will see that what people react to. And then, of course, you can scale by using paid advertisement or any kind of different other methods, group coaching or whatever. But it's really easier, from my experience, to get people, to get one-on-one clients. So, like Kate said, I would propose go and build.
Thank you, Daniel. And I think something you said, I also want to reflect on that. Please don't take away the fact that doing a whole bunch of learning is wrong, right? Because I hope that's not the takeaway. I have friends who are so passionate about cooking shows. They don't cook. They don't have to. It doesn't have to go hand in hand, right? Like, so if you love learning, if you enjoy learning about coaching, you're taking one course and one certification after another, that's never an issue. And this is what I say to clients. They heard me say this a million times. It's not a problem until it's a problem. So the fact that I have 60 different certifications in my pocket, is that a problem? No, I love to learn. I'm a learner. I'm a student, eternal student, always learning something. But the problem is if there's actually a friction, if there's a friction of it's like, oh, but like I actually really want to work with people. I actually want to coach. And what I do is learn and keep learning and keep learning and keep learning, because then there is a disconnect. Right. And we would approach every client like that. Or, when I say I've talked people out of level 2, I've talked people out of doing many things. But one example I used recently, I've talked somebody out of quitting smoking. They didn't want to. They very clearly didn't want to. They said, I feel like I should quit smoking because everyone's bugging me about it, and I know it's bad for my health. And I said, but do you want to quit smoking? Like, is there actually a problem there? And you know what happened? The most mind-blowing thing happened. They went on a 3-minute monologue about how much they loved smoking. I've never heard anything like it, right? They told me about the smell and the feeling and the routine and how it's a ritual and how it gives them a break and how much they're enjoying it. And I'm like, oh my God, let's talk about other things you want to change in your life, because I don't think this is it. Not this very second, maybe not yet. Right? So I think that's I like, if you're taking courses and books and certifications, amazing. If there's no problem, there's no problem. And Daniel, I think you wanted to say something to Kimberly as well, right? Or that was it? No, I feel like Dana actually wanted to pop in. No?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for being here. As always, thank you for your time. Thank you to all of you that are listening in while multitasking and doing life. Thank you to all of you that are able to be on camera. And I hope I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.